Today on the CEO's chair, we have an extremely dynamic woman founder and CEO of Bedrock Educare, Rupashree Sable. She's had a very interesting career graph with over 12 years in the IT industry, and now for the past 10 years, she's been in the primary care education industry. Rupashree, welcome to the CEO's chair.
Thank you so much, Siddharth.
So Rupashree, 12 years in the IT industry, what prompted the transition to breaking off and starting your own business?
Yeah, so I guess a lot of people in IT at some point feel saturated.
True.
I guess in my life that came a bit too soon.
Okay.
And opportunity presented itself when my husband had a shift to another city, and I just took that chance to take a break and think about what I would really like to do in life.
Of course.
And in fact, that was the first time I really spent so much time with my child. She was 2.5-year-old at that time. And as I was doing that, I realized that I had not bothered to educate myself for the most important job of my life, being a mother. So I did some wonderful workshops with 2 people in Pune here, which gave me an insight on how the child's brain develops, what kind of input you can give in, and how important early childhood period is. And when I did those things with my daughter, I was fascinated by the results that I started seeing. And I discovered my passion. Then I realized this is something I would like to do for the rest of my life.
Of course.
And while I was also doing my postgraduate program in business management at IIM, that also gave me a little bit of insight into business. So at the end of that, I decided I'll now do something on my own, and it will have to be in the field of education, especially early childhood education. So that's how Bedrock got started.
Going from an employee mindset to an employer mindset is really not the easiest transition.
Right.
What areas did you have to focus on to make sure that you were ready to be responsible for not just yourself, but for a business and employees?
In terms of taking ownership of my work, I feel I always had an employer mindset.
Okay.
I guess the main shift that came was accepting the fact that a fat salary is not going to come into your account at the end of every month. That was the toughest part to get used to. It's very easy to be happy when 60,000 comes into your account at the end of the month. But in order to make sure 60,000 worth of business comes into your kitty is another ball game altogether. And you kind of develop an appreciation for your company owners and people who get business for your company also.
Correct.
When you were an employee. And I started appreciating money a lot, I guess, after I became an entrepreneur. So I started valuing money a lot.
So just being careful and managing it and paying more attention to where it was going.
Absolutely.
And it's true what they say about entrepreneurs, that everybody is in sales, right?
Yes.
Essentially, either you're going out and getting clients, or you're positioning your brand so that other people, whether it is employees or vendors, are attracted to come and work for you.
Absolutely.
Everybody talks about the imposter mindset, that am I good enough, am I confident enough, am I qualified enough to start my own business?
Yeah.
Did you have any of those concerns?
Of course. I mean, I have been an employee till then, all my life. So obviously there was an apprehension.
True.
So of course, I didn't take a big leap immediately. I kind of had a transition period where I did something part-time. I ran an activity center just to test out waters. And this was a complete transition from what I was doing, right? Being a corporate job and then dealing with 15 children who come in front of you.
And their parents.
And their parents. So I tested waters for a couple of years and I developed my confidence. Of course, I also educated myself. I did online courses on early childhood education and stuff, and that's when I developed the confidence to go big bang, like invest a lot of money and start the preschool. Okay.
And while dealing with children for you comes easily, dealing with adults sometimes is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Have there been any challenges in dealing with any of the parents, either current or present or past?
So dealing with parents, I guess my 12 years of corporate background definitely helped.
So your patience levels were tested already?
Yeah. Although you're never prepared for a lot of things that sometimes get thrown at you as an entrepreneur.
Correct.
Especially when somebody is in the role of a customer.
Of course.
And when it comes to children, parents are always very emotional. It's always a very emotional transaction.
Absolutely.
Every time. And why not? I mean, that is something to be expected. If you're going to leave your child with somebody,
true.
Trust is very important.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there have been experiences, but I guess dealing with people is something that I find I'm naturally wired for it. So that's something I could deal with. The first thing I would like to say is that the early childhood sector specifically,
Correct.
there are no regulations from the government whatsoever.
Correct.
It's pretty much a very unorganized sector, and it is done as a business, which is sometimes a good thing.
True.
But then the flip side of it is anybody can just come and start a preschool, or anybody can just come and do it the way they want.
Correct.
And it's high time government starts putting some regulation, because the amount of importance that early childhood education has, I think it's not getting its due. These are the foundational years and probably the most important years of education.
Of course.
And there is no legal status given to this industry, this education.
Correct.
So it's high time. There has been a bill, ECCE bill,
Okay.
that has been passed, it seems, but it has not yet been accepted and come to effect.
Okay.
I hope that comes to effect soon. Also, the second thing I would like to mention here is that's something I feel very strongly about, is that education is not an area where which it is generally not a profession of first choice for many good people.
Okay.
Unfortunately, cream of the society is really not getting into education still.
Because they're not getting salaries at par
Probably,
with the
yes.
rest of the private
in fact,
sector.
that is something I would like the government to really pay attention to, or
Okay.
even each of us at a business level. If education, I am sure there are a lot of good people who have a passion for education, who would like to get into this field, but are
Correct.
probably not coming looking at the salary figures.
Of course.
So it's my dream that education should be looked upon as one of the most
Regularized and
happening professions. I've kind of consolidated my learnings into what I call the 5 P's of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And so the first P is passion. So I guess if you're following your passion, your likelihood of success is much higher. The second P is patience.
Okay.
It's important, once you've started a venture, it's important to have patience, especially when there are downs. And every business will have ups and downs.
Of course.
If you give up on the very first down that you're facing, then your business is bound to fail. So yes, the second P, very important, patience. The third P, paisa.
Okay.
Mind your money. It's extremely important to treat money well. Of course, every business has an objective that has to go much beyond money.
Of course.
But money is important, and it's important to treat it with respect. The fourth P is people.
Okay.
Investing in people, investing in yourself, investing in the people who are your support system, your family, investing in people who are working with you, empowering them, investing in networking with a lot of people.
Okay.
Because I guess a lot of things start happening only when you meet people.
Absolutely.
So that's the fourth P. And the fifth P, what I feel is pride. It's very important to take, even if it's a small business of food products, even if it's a small business of apparel or whatever
Correct.
you're doing, one has to really take pride that you're creating something. And if you're providing employment for a few people in the whole process, I mean, personally, that is the proudest feeling about being an entrepreneur for me. That today
sure.
I'm able to create employment for these many women.
No, and I think these are some extremely great values that you've led your own entrepreneurship journey by. A lot of people obviously are still searching for the mentor or still searching for that motivation, whether it comes from externally or internally.
True.
Another personal choice, especially for women, is when they decide to take a sabbatical, either when they're becoming mothers or when they're deciding to get married. What are your thoughts on taking a sabbatical? How long should it last, and how?
See, I would say that's a personal choice, but
Okay.
My personal opinion is when it is for having a child. It's
Correct.
First of all, having a child has to be a very conscious decision.
Absolutely.
And it should not be a default thing. Ab shadi hui hai to bachcha hona chahiye, It has to be a conscious
tell that to Indian society because it is a default.
True. So then if it's a conscious decision, I think at least a year the parents have to give to the child. And I'm not saying just the mothers. Probably even the fathers can take a little backseat from their career and spend that first, because they say that the first 2 years are the most important brain development years as well. And actually even preschooling starts after that.
And a lot of organizations are actually encouraging fathers as well to take paternity leave, or to
which is a great thing to happen.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would personally recommend. It's important, even if you don't take a complete sabbatical, but yeah, take maybe a good enough break from your job that you don't feel stressed out, and you can enjoy the childhood of your baby.
Speaking of working women, speaking of successful women founders as well, such as yourself, there has been a huge movement called the Me Too movement that has been happening over the past couple of months, so to say, especially in India. What are your thoughts on that? What can we do as men? What can we do as a society?
Okay, first of all, I must say it's high time.
That it happened.
High time that it happened.
Agreed.
There have been messages, there have been comments from various people saying, why now? Why women speak after 20 years?
Correct.
And what's the point now? Usi waqt bolna chahiye tha. But then, you never know what a woman went through. And I would primarily say, I'm not saying things may not have happened to men.
Correct.
But how many cases do we all personally know? Where a man has come and complained. All said and done, 99% of the cases, the victims are women. And you never know what she went through till you're in her shoes.
Absolutely.
So, I would say it's der aaye durust hai, even if it's after 20 years. Today, if that lady is having the courage to speak up about it, and it's liberating. If she's venting it out, speaking about it, it's a liberating feeling for her. She must have probably carried it in her mind for a very long time. Most of us who come from a good background may not face it to that extent.
Correct.
However, like even for me personally, growing up even in a city like Nagpur, where eve teasing has always happened, so every one of us faces it. And I believe the change will come as a society. What you asked, what is the message, is that I think the mothers of boys now have a big job to do.
Absolutely.
All of us mothers, we train our girls very well.
Correct.
On how to conduct themselves and how to avoid all this. I think it's important to train the boys. And so some of my friends who have boys as kids, they all know this and they all acknowledge this, that they have a greater responsibility, because we also need to raise our men to know how to respect the women.
Absolutely. And I think you've summed it up really, really well. That the responsibility and the onus is on the mothers, is on the fathers as well.
Yes.
To treat them to be men, to grow up to be men that respect women, whether it is in the workplace or whether it is outside the workplace.
Very true.
It is a conversation that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Whether it is happening in the boardrooms, whether it's happening in classrooms, whether it's happening, even inside businesses, so to speak.
I agree.
Because when we talk about entrepreneurship developing the nation, it can't happen only with men entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
On this show as well, we are trying our best to showcase as many successful women founders and women CEOs as well.
That's really great, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Rupashree.
So the main challenge usually of taking a special child in the school is to have resources who are trained to handle special children.
Correct.
Because handling children itself is difficult, and handling children with special needs kind of adds to the level of difficulty. And for a teacher who's handling 15 kids, 10 to 15 kids at a time, it becomes very important to have dedicated resources then who can pay full attention to the children with special needs.
Correct.
So at Bedrock, if the parents are ready to cooperate with us on that aspect, we never say no.
Okay.
To taking a child with any, whether it is physical special needs or learning disorders or
of course.
Needs of any kind. As a society, however, that inclusivity has really not come in, and I guess the main problem in that is the availability of trained resources who can handle. So the dream is to grow.
Okay.
We would like to have more branches, associate with more like-minded people as partners and grow the venture.
Okay.
In Pune, but also anywhere outside of Pune.
Okay.
There has been a lot of feedbacks coming from our own parents who've now gone to formal schools, that somewhere down the line the philosophies and the methods that we are using at a preschool level, they get lost when children go to typical formal schools.
Correct.
So the dream is also to start a very different futuristic learning center or a school, a high school up to 10th standard, which is something, it's my personal favorite project, and I'm working on it. And
last but not least, I'd love to know a little bit more about your personal life. When you're not working, which as an entrepreneur is probably all the time, what would I find Rupashree doing?
Here you're working 24/7.
And as a lady as well, because like you said, you love to multitask.
True.
But when you do have downtime, what do you like to do?
Yeah, so we need to cultivate some hobbies that can work as fantastic stress busters
Absolutely.
for us. For me, that comes in the form of spending time with my family, going for movies with my husband and daughter.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time with my friends, going for treks and all with them. I
Very
love
nice.
trekking,
Okay.
primarily in the Sahyadris, not too much of Himalayan trekking that I've done.
Great to hear.
But I love that as a physical activity. And I'm learning music and Bharatnatyam,
Wow.
which is something I love since my childhood.
Okay.
So I'm back into it, I'm pursuing it. That really acts as a great stress buster. And reading is a hobby that's very easy to pursue. So I love to read as well.
And what kind of books do you read?
Pretty much anything and everything. I love to read Marathi comedy,
Okay.
Pula Deshpande. I love to read English novels. I mean, I've read most of the authors now.
Depending on the mood and depending on the amount of
Currently
time that you
I'm
have.
reading a book called Jobs to be Done.
Okay.
And so this is more towards self-development book. So
Rupashree, wrapping up, we have a lot of young women that are out there that are watching the show. We have them getting into the corporate world. We have them wanting to start their own businesses. What message would you like to leave them with?
So I'd like to leave them with a message: love yourself and be confident. If you love yourself and you're confident, the rest of the world is bound to put their trust in you, put their faith in you, and then only sky's the limit.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rupashree. As you heard from Rupashree, love yourself, be confident, and be your own biggest fan, because unfortunately, unless you believe in yourself, nobody else will believe in you. Rupashree, we have a small gift for you as well from Forente, a box of chocolates. So I hope you enjoy that.
That's a lovely gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being on the show, and we wish you and Bedrock continued success in
It's
whatever
all
you
my
do.
pleasure. Thank you.